Windows 10 is fucking retarded. 1280 by 1024 and 2048 by 1536. I pressed the detect button so it showed this monitor. And it fucking, what the fuck? What the fuck? I am comparing a CRT and an LCD. This is just some random LCD I picked up. I can't only have a remote, so I can't even recalibrate it. And to make it even, this CRT needs the colors on it calibrated really bad, and I need to replace the tube on it. This thing can look a lot better than it does. I've actually got the replacement tube over there. I've just been putting it off for over a year. It still has a decently sharp picture, but it really needs recalibrated. And compared, I'm recording this in a 720p camera, so me showing off this resolution that can't be measured, max VGA, ain't really there, but I can at least show off that it has a really deep color depth.
Full of money knocking at the door. He say just ran out, he need a couple more. I'm about to pour it out the bag. Count it on the floor. Count it on the floor. Count it on the floor. Count it on the floor.
And just like yeah, I'm not like using software to boost colors or anything. But then again, I guess I would. It'd be doing it in both displays. So my camera's seeing this is a lot more reddish than I actually see it. I don't know. Probably because of the fucking white balance. I need to force the white balance on this camera. All right, next video is gonna be a Far Cry, but I'm actually gonna force calibrate the whites on here. Yep, now they're both calibrated the same.
I don't want to be unarmed. God damn.
So this is what I'm used to with CRTs.
Okay.
This is what you get with an LCD.
Whoa, people, don't just.
And I've got really nice pixel depth with my color depth. It may not be calibrated well, but it looks a hell of a lot better than that does. And now you're seeing it more accurate. Now you see more what I see, not the colors being off on the camera, because I forced a white balance based off of a pure white light I have. And now the colors that look off on that TV actually come up on camera. But yeah, come on, look at that and look at that. And I have them both in 16 by 9, so they're like the same size and everything. But come on, if you still think that is better, you're insane. And yes, I've seen newer LCDs. Yes, they look a bit better, but they try using software to boost the colors, and it ends up looking oversaturated on the dark end. It doesn't look right. I'm used to CRTs. They look fabulous. And plasmas, they look great too. Plasmas look amazing. That doesn't have enough resolution, and that's why I don't use it. That's only 1080p.
Because I have my HUD off, remember?
Right now I'm in 16 by 9 1440, but I'm normally in 4 by 3 1536p.
It's done.
For real though, this is a really crazy high idle. My CPU's running at 2 gigahertz and 1%. That should be 0 and 1.8. Got too much stuff running in the background. Now, at some point, I'm going to put more effort into this and go into this in more depth, but I'm going to just, at the end of this video, since this is what it is, I'm going to just rattle off a few differences in why I like CRTs. Alright, so think of an LCD. It's like raster graphics. You have a set number of pixels on the screen. That is always the number of pixels you have. If the resolution you give to it changes, you have to upscale or downscale. And not only that, because they use on digital formats and there's all this multiplexing, there's processing that has to be done to the signal. That adds latency. CRTs, because it is an entirely analog system, it is a beam being dragged across a mesh of colors. You have a limited resolution depth on your color, but you do not have a limited resolution depth on your actual dots. It can go between the lines. And like I use Trinitron displays, which means it is straight up vertical red, green, and blue all the way from top to the bottom, which gives you a little bit room for more room for clarity, more room for brightness. And another reason I like CRTs, I'm a very aggressive person. I get pissed off. I punch my equipment. I throw my equipment when I'm really mad. My monitor I'm using now is a CRT made in the year 2000. A Sony Trinitron, made in Japan. I have thrown it across the room so hard that I have actually managed to rip a VGA cable off and still had the port screwed into the back of the monitor. I have thrown stuff at it so hard that there are small nicks taken out of the screen, and I've punched it so hard that I have dented a computer that was sitting behind it. My monitor has been through a lot. When you punch a monitor that hard, it looks like you're degaussing it. So yeah, very durable. At the same time, I have maintenance this monitor a lot. It is really easy to work on a CRT. And Sony has a Sony digital alignment software. I personally don't like how much of it's controlled from it. Like the G2 voltage on the tube, or on the flyback, is controlled through that software, which I don't like breaking out of a laptop running Windows 98 and connecting up to a TTL connector every time I need to step up or step down the voltage or tweak any other settings. But that's what it is. And still, it's a hell of a lot easier, and you've got so much more control than you get with an LCD. But again, if you're big on gaming, especially if you do old school stuff, you have to have a CRT. It's seriously, like, if you don't believe me, pick one up. That's the other thing. CRTs, they're cheap. They are dirt cheap. This monitor I got, I found it on the side of the road 5 years ago. It had an overwrite problem. I had to fix that. My left monitor, side of the road, about 3 years ago. My other Trinitron I use in my mini Dell, I got at the salvage center for $1. I got another monitor I carry around, and again, salvage center, $1. So yeah, CRTs, if you can get a hold of them, yeah, there's different qualities. Don't get me wrong. There's shitty CRTs. The tubes can be bad on them, but if you got one that's well calibrated, and especially if you got one that's high resolution, woo! Let me tell you, if you had a CRT that's actually meant to put out 1536p, you're going to be blown away by the picture. Like, seriously, it's not quite 4K, it's 2K, but with color depth like you have never seen it before. And sadly, the ones I've ran into, the tubes are shot, so you couldn't really run them at full brightness. The one I have is not native at that, but when they are actually native 1536p, it is really nice. And if I had the money, I would have a Sony FW900. That is my dream monitor. Let's see. So yeah, people say CRTs consume too much power. Really, they're not that bad, especially when you're comparing to plasmas. But like, what's my? I know my monitor is under 200 watts, and odds are your gaming rig's pushing like 1,000. So I really don't think the wattage of your monitor is going to be a big deal. Yeah, and I don't even know what the wattage of an LCD is. I think my old LCD monitor is like 25 watts, so I know they're pretty low in power, but compared to a plasma, it's like 600. And again, durability, that's a big thing. These things are really damn reliable. Now, in my video, my colors have drifted a bit. The one thing that's kind of screwy about this monitor, the values of its parts drift over time. Which, right now, my red gain's too high, and I've calibrated it from within the thing, but I need to actually calibrate it through the Sony digital alignment software so I can cut back the gain on the actual red gun. And I need to readjust the minimum and maximum of what everything is. It's not that hard to do, and it's totally worth it. But I haven't done that because I need to replace the tube, and I just haven't felt like gutting this thing yet. I guess that's it. Any more detail I'll save for a longer video, but I am a huge fan of CRTs, and to think, major development of CRTs really stopped after 2005. After that, it was just like some companies dragged along producing them, but there was not really any progress made in them. Imagine if we still worked on that shit. I mean, our ability to manufacture things, I think the pixel depth would be insane by now. And not only that, some of the later CRTs, their colors are really, really nice. But maybe, yeah, I don't know if it's because they're less used or what, or if they found a better phosphor, but man, those later end Trinitrons, some of them, they look really, really good. And don't compare to TV. If you're gonna, like, as far as resolution goes, don't compare a TV to a monitor, because usually, especially with a CRT, the monitor's gonna look better. But usually with a CRT, the fineness of the pitch is much, much finer on the beam than it would be with a on a monitor versus a TV. And it was even like that back when they used composite. Look at a black and white monochrome composite CRT, and reading text on it is really easy through composite. So that's always been true. The more clarity on monitors. But yeah, I mean, like the monitor I have is like, you know, more of like a professional monitor. Like half of them actually had B and C connectors on the back of them. That's when you know you've got a good monitor, when they have an option to have B and C connectors, or if it has the B and C connectors, because that monitor is used for professional like image editing and video editing and shit. And that means it can have really nice color. And like I said, those aren't hard to get now. So really, just give it a try. I mean, if you look hard enough, you might find one laying on the side of the road. And all you got to do is take it home, plug it in. If it works, yay. If it doesn't, just pitch it. That simple.